Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So by now, you've probably all heard the horrendous news that the conservatives on the Supreme Court prefer to have a monarchy. They apparently want an autocracy or a monarchy in this country as opposed to a democracy. They ruled today that presidents are immune from prosecution for official acts. And they essentially laid out a roadmap for how to commit crimes while in office. Total impunity. You can do whatever you want. So any bad actor now who gets into the White House knows exactly what they can get away with, which is pretty much anything. So first, let's dive in. Let's talk about how this affects Donald Trump and his DC coup case, because that was, top of mind. That's where this all started. So, and for the love of God, for the love that all is holy in this country, in the world, can everyone do me a favor? Please, if you see news outlets, if you see hosts calling this case the January 6th case, please tell them to shut up. Please tell them that that is not what the case was about. He was not indicted for the insurrection that he incited on January 6th. He was indicted for attempting a coup. It's that simple. Right? He tried to stop the certification of the electoral votes. That's about the only way it relates to January 6th. Otherwise, the case has nothing to do with January 6th. And in calling it that, we are ceding the narrative to the other side. So anyway, in regard to Trump's coup case, it definitely delays this case even further. The Supreme Court ruling kicks this case back to District Judge Tanya Chutkan. So it kicks it back down to her court. She will then have to hold hearings to determine which of Trump's acts were official, which were personal or campaign related. And they noted in their ruling that the prosecutor can't even ask a jury to consider evidence. They can't even bring up a president's official acts and use them as evidence of another crime. Even conservative justice, even Amy Coney Barrett, took issue with that part of it. She sided with the majority, of course, on most everything else, but Coney Barrett cited bribery specifically as an example in her dissent on that one point. So, for example, this ruling means a president can take a bribe. They can just take a bribe in exchange for signing something into law, doing an executive order, pushing something through. But because it's related to his or her official act as president, then that president can't be held liable in a court of law. It is complete and utter lunacy. Batshit crazy. So based on this insane in the membrane ruling, there's definitely going to be some evidence that's excluded from the coup case. There could be some charges that need to be dropped. So for instance, the Supreme Court specifically mentioned in their ruling that Trump was acting within his official capacity when he pressured the Justice Department to try to help him overturn the election. Again, insanity. However, they left the door open a little bit regarding his pressure campaign on his vice president, Mike Pence. Also, various state officials may still be fair game. So that is going to be up to Judge Chutkan to decide. Now, we couldn't possibly have a better or more fair-minded judge in this matter. But Trump's team is guaranteed to appeal all of her decisions. So sadly, like all his other cases, it is very unlikely now that this case is going to go to trial before November. And as we all know, if Trump wins this election, he's going to find a way to make this case go away. He'll find a way to get all of the federal cases thrown out. He might even find a way to get the state cases tamped down. He did it before, right? He did the whole thing in New York. But even if he can't just get rid of these cases, we have the issue of that BS Office of Legal Counsel memo. You guys, I'm sure, know all about this. They wrote it decades ago. It says, you can't prosecute, you can't try a sitting president. It has never been challenged in court, so it definitely needs to be challenged. But they're going to use that to say, oh, nope, Can't do anything to him till he's out of office, if he ever decides to leave. So here's what I say based on this ruling. I say go for it, Joe Biden, right? Let Dark Brandon, let his freak flag fly, blah, blah, blah. The Supreme Court just gave Biden a pass on basically anything he wants to do, as long as it relates to his job as president, right? So go for it. Exploit their decision. Make the Supreme Court regret this. Make MAGA heads explode. Sign a bunch of executive orders that you were a little nervous about doing in the past because, maybe treads a little close to the line. And I know what a lot of people are going to say. A lot of people are going to say, oh, we can't start acting like the Republicans or then we're no better than they are. You know what? Being better than these radical extremist Republicans, it's going to be cold comfort if the apricot Antichrist takes power again. Let me remind you, there are still hundreds of babies and children who still, to this day, have not been reunited with their parents due to Trump's evil and cruel child separation policy. These kids could very well, at this very moment that I'm speaking, be in the hands of child predators. And Trump and his people didn't give a damn. They didn't even care enough to keep track of where they were, who they went with. To Trump and his bigoted zombies, unless you're a straight white male, you're not human. You are not human. So that's the threat that we face. A group of people who see other people as things, as subhuman, as vermin to be eradicated. We're no longer fighting a battle based on policy differences. We are fighting a battle against an evil that this country hasn't experienced in decades. So I believe every option is on the table. It should be. You cannot fight this level of depravity being pious or, quote unquote, going high when they go low. No, no more. That does not work. The Democrats have tried and they have failed with that BS since Obama was president. Look at what happened when a Supreme Court seat opened up during his term. Mitch McConnell effectively punched Obama in the nose and stole his lunchbox. Democrats, they're not even bringing knives to a gunfight at this point. Right? It's like they're bringing water balloons to fight people armed with AR-15s. So Democrats better grow a pair of ovaries really quick. Biden just needs to step up. Do what you got to do, Diablo. And I should note, Trump's other cases shouldn't be impacted by this SCOTUS decision, as I call them. I'm sure Ms. Margaritaville down in Florida, Aileen Cannon, Aileen towards Trump Cannon, I'm sure she will try to use this to try to let Trump off the hook. But here's the issue that she's going to run into. The classified documents crimes happened after he left office. So those weren't his official duties. And then as for the Georgia RICO case, that largely involved pressuring state officials, also the whole fake elector scheme, breaching voting equipment. So I think Trump's team is going to have a hard time making the case that the submission of fraudulent elector documents or, the breach of voting equipment, that all falls within the scope of presidential duties. They'll try, and it'll be comical to watch and hear, but I don't think that they're gonna be able to pull that off. So again, though, if he wins, everything goes away. It's like hitting the reset button. He doesn't get charged. His charges go away, crimes go away. He's done. He's free. So please let people know that. Please let them know the big picture of what we're talking about here and how that plays out in the future. How that shows, and this SCOTUS decision shows future quote unquote leaders what they can and can't do, and more like what they can do, that they can get away with crimes, total impunity, nothing will ever happen to them. We will end up being the banana republic and the third world country that Trump and his minions are always bitching and moaning about. So anyway, I will let you all know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I knew that they were going to use pretzel logic and they were going to find a way to let him off and give him a pass. Anyway, guys, all right. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.